price of freedom is death. We're coming to get our check.
Black first, my brothers and my sisters. Welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. I'm your host, Afro Elite. Before we get started, please make sure that you guys are subscribed. Double check to make sure that you guys are subscribed, because mysterious things have happened. All right, so double check, make sure you guys are subscribed, hit that like button, hit that notification button, all of that helps the reach and the growth of the channel. All right, we're talking about a very important, significant subject tonight. Appreciate you all for being here. Shout out to, I see Rachel in the building. Shout out to our good sister Rachel. How you doing? Making sure everything is set up. So the first, we're gonna get started pretty early, because there's some things we need to talk about. I already posted a little bit of it on Twitter. If you guys are following me on my Twitter, which you guys should be following me on my Twitter, it's right here. It's Afro Elite on Twitter, or the Afro Elite on Twitter. It's Afro Elite on Instagram. All right, so I posted that there earlier. So we've been talking about the situation with Chicago and the migrant situation. We've been talking about that for really all year, to be very honest. Really, ever since last year, we've been talking about it. We've been talking about this since the very beginning. We've been talking about how, because of the sanctuary city status that Chicago has, a lot of the invaders are able to come over here. The asylum seekers, the migrants, whatever they call them, they're able to come over here and they're able to get protective status due to that. All right, so this is why they're targeting places like Chicago and places like New York. This is the reason for that. So a lot of people have been questioning, hey, you know, the original intent for Chicago being a, hold on, the original, oh, okay, hold on. Sorry, my phone just started blowing up all of a sudden. The original intent for Chicago being a migrant crisis is not the same. It's not the same as it used to be. All right. So what people have been discussing is, maybe Chicago needs to not be a sanctuary city anymore. So we've been discussing a whole lot of the different meetings that's been going on. Anytime, now pay attention to this, because this is what we've been documenting. Anytime there's a meeting going on about Chicago being a sanctuary city or losing its sanctuary city status, you see the black people like, hey, they gotta go. They have to go. And you see the Chicago City Council and the Chicago City Mayor, they try to finesse things. They close meetings early, or they'll kick people out the room, say, okay, we'll just do this to calm the crowd down, and then they won't let people back in the room. They're being very wishy-washy and selective with who they allow to speak. So they've been pulling a lot of different tactics to prevent the voice, the black voice of Chicago, from being able to speak out on the nonsense. But the conversation about Chicago's sanctuary city status has been gaining a lot of traction. So I want to open the conversation up with this. Let me show you. Let me make this bigger. Let me show you this. All right. Going to shout out to every single last one of you all in this room so far. This was a video, but it's not really. It's a little bit too long. It's over 10 minutes, and we got other things we want to discuss. So it says, a handful of Chicago City Council members want voters to weigh in the March primary election on whether Chicago should stay a sanctuary city for undocumented immigrants. In order for a third referendum to be added to the March primary ballot, City Council would need to approve the move before the end of the year. That's what happened today. I showed you guys that on my Twitter account. That's what the meeting was today, to see if they were going to approve it for it to be on the referendum. It continues to say, the attempt comes amid a crisis posted by the arrival of at least, keyword at least, let me highlight that, at least 23,000 migrants sent from the border since August 2022, the vast majority of whom are asylum seekers, according to the city of Chicago. Now, let me pause that for a second. Let me get that, pause it. Remember, I myself, nobody else has done this. I didn't get this from anybody else. I myself was the only person to go to one of them. I went to the police station. Well, you can do it at a police station, a migrant shelter, and I asked them, okay, what's going on with your paperwork? What's going on with the citizenship status? I talked to them. They said, oh, we're still getting processed. So if they're still getting processed, brothers and sisters, they cannot say that they are asylum seekers because their asylum seeking status is still being processed. They don't have any proof. They don't have any proof that they are asylum seekers. Most of them, when you ask them personally, most of them are coming over here with jobs. The whole asylum seeker stuff, that's just their excuse so they can use the legal loophole to get in the country in the first place. But it's not like they're running away from a tyrannical government. If they were running away, they would not be even considering going back because Chicago is getting cold or New York is getting cold. You see videos of now them saying, hey, I don't want to go back while Chicago's cold right now because they think that, okay, well, Chicago is a little bit colder. New York is a little bit colder than what I expected. So I'm going to go back and then I'm going to come back to Chicago or New York in the wintertime, because it's a little bit too cold. They wouldn't really be doing that if they were true asylum seekers. So that's not really what they are. When you go ask them, it's not really what they are. They'll tell you that. Oh, yeah, well, we're here for work. We're here for work. They'll tell you that. So let's continue. It continues to say, quote, let me scroll down a little bit. Quote, we have become a magnet for the politics of the nation, which is trying to address the failures of the federal government with regards to the border and has sent thousands to our backyard, said Alderman Raymond Lopez from the 15th Ward. That sanctuary city policy is what's driving so many individuals to these asylum seekers here to the city of Chicago. We know there's a difference between someone who is temporary legal protected, who has temporary legal protected status, which are asylum seekers. And there are hundreds of thousands who are undocumented. I think we have to have a conversation that if this policy is a magnet, should we continue down this path? So even the Hispanic alderman, Raymond Lopez, is sitting up there like, hey, I don't know about all this now. I don't know about all this. Now, he was going back and forth with another Hispanic alderman saying, we now see Democratic cities using our city as a dumping ground for their problems. So what they were doing now, what they were doing before, let me explain what that means. What they were doing before is they were all saying, it's Greg Abbott. Remember, Greg Abbott's the one who's sending all of them over here. It's Greg Abbott from Texas. But now you see Democratic cities like, oh, send them to Chicago. So now a lot of people are sending all of theirs to Chicago now. So Democratic cities are doing the same thing. So everybody's dumping their migrants over here. They're migrants over here. But we're going to continue this. So this is the conversation that even the aldermen are starting to recognize. Even the aldermen are starting to admit. All right. Now it continues to say, Chicago's status as a sanctuary city does not require it to encourage immigrants to move to the Chicago. It doesn't require, but it does. Nor does the welcoming city ordinance obligate officials to use taxpayer funds to care for migrants in Chicago. That is what's happening, though. That is what's happening. It says Alderman Brian Cinco Lopez from the 21st. If that's how it's pronounced, that's just what I'm saying. He's the other Lopez from the 25th Ward says Chicago sanctuary cities does not make it a magnet, which is incorrect. It is. That's why they're coming specifically over here. That's why they want to come to the sanctuary cities. So this was the debate that even the Hispanic aldermen were having. He says, Quote, if you look at the number of Cuban asylum seekers that are coming to Florida without sanctuary cities or sanctuary status, that makes this statement inaccurate. Lopez, I ain't Cinco Lopez, somebody gonna correct me. Cinco Lopez, this ordinance was to protect the human rights and create equal opportunity in the city of Chicago, no matter their immigration status. I think that's something the vast majority of residents agree on. Well, the thing is that them being an immigrant and then them being an illegal immigrant is not the same. See, what they're doing is they're sitting up there like, oh, well, your immigration status, you don't really have an immigration status if you don't have any paperwork. You don't have an immigration status if you're not legal to be here. You don't have an immigration status. What they're trying to do is they're trying to put immigrants and undocumented legal immigrants and then undocumented immigrants and asylum seekers, they're putting it all in the same boat. Like, well, it doesn't matter somebody's immigration status. They should all be treated equally and everything. Well, hold on. There's a process to getting an immigration status, though. That's the thing that they're not trying to really admit to. That's the thing that they're using selective words to kind of reshape everything with. That's what they're doing. All right. It says, Mayor Brandon Johnson's allies have their own proposed referendum that would ask voters if the city should have spending limits on migrants. Yeah. Okay. Spending limits. While y'all still playing around with reparations. Quote, we need to stop those shameful federal policies that are bringing thousands of people into our country and would predict millions, and I would predict millions if we don't change, Cinco Lopez said. We need to offer solutions. This sanctuary status referendum is nothing to offer towards solutions. So they're having this thing about Chicago being a sanctuary city. The thing is that a lot of Black Chicago is realizing that the sanctuary city thing is a big finesse. It's a big finesse. So, and I'm going to show you this, and I showed you guys this before, but I'm going to show you guys this again. So this is really the energy that we're seeing when it comes to a lot of the Black Chicago, right? I showed this to you guys before. So this is how you know Chicago's not putting up with this whole sanctuary city status. Every time there's a press conference and you see some real grassroots folks in front of a microphone or in front of a camera, you see this. This is the energy that you see.
Mayor Brandon Johnson say that the sentiment in the Black community is waning. A lie. The sentiment is not waning. We are not okay with you taking our resources and giving them to people who don't live here. As Mark stated before, you are preparing housing for them. One of the reasons that the city of Chicago was able to close 50 schools was because of the Black Flight. And the reason we had a Black Flight was because there is no affordable housing in this city. It is because the city of Chicago shut down the voucher system so that Blacks who needed to get affordable housing could not. So they had no choice but to flee to other states. But now you found money for the migrants.
That's right.
We're calling foul. And then another thing you said was that the faith-based leaders were helping to bring around the sentiment. We haven't paid attention to faith-based leaders since Dr. Martin Luther King. And guess what? We're not listening to them now. We understand that they are bought and paid for. We understand that you control the narrative that they are trying to speak about. So let me just say this to you. We're not listening to them the same way we're not listening to you. What you're doing is not okay. And let me just say this other thing. Emerson Park is still closed. And our mayor has decided that because we didn't support migrants coming to our park, we just ain't gonna have a park. I call foul, Mayor. You love to stand around and talk about how you are a Black man. That's all you are, is a Black man. And we know that all Black folks ain't skin folks. And those of us who didn't know that, you're giving us a great lesson. So we thank you for that. No, the sentiment has not changed. We are still for Black people. We are still for this city supporting us. We're still for Black people getting the same set-asides that these migrants are getting. Oh, excuse me, not migrants, because what they are is illegal foreign nationals. They are not migrants. They are not coming here legally. So just because you put lipstick on a pig, it's still going to be a pig. Yeah. So we are not backing down. We were quiet for a minute. I know you thought that the sentiment has changed. It has not. And like I tried to remind people, not only did I support Brandon Johnson, not only did I campaign for Brandon Johnson, not only did I give him my money, but I want you to know two things. Number one, I'm not a fan. I have buyer's remorse. Number two, for any independent candidate in the city of Chicago, any Green Party candidate in the city of Chicago, and any Republican candidate in the city of Chicago, now is your time, because we are done with the Democratic Party. Brandon Johnson, Governor Pritzker, and President Biden have shown us what they think about the Black community all over this country. And so we're standing here today to say, okay, if that's what it is, we with it. We don't have to support the Democratic Party. Right. We don't have to continue to support people who are not going to support us. And the Democratic Party here in this city, in this state, and in this country is not supporting us. You got the Republicans on one side and the Democrats on the other side. Guess what? They're part of the same bird.
That's right. With two wings.
So it doesn't matter anymore which party we go with. But I'll tell you this, I'd rather deal with the snake that's outfitting himself of the Republican Party than the snake that's covered up in the Democratic Party.
That's right.
We're not going to continue to stand for this. We're not going to continue to allow our state representatives, our congressmen, our aldermen, and our mayor to let us know that we don't matter. Just like you're going to show us that we're going to matter, we're going to show you. It's going to be a great day in the city of Chicago when a Democratic convention comes here, and then they found out in March that a lot of Black voters took Republican ballots.
Now, check this out. Check this out. That is the energy that Black Chicago has. So, and they know this. They're aware of this. And they have to legally have these ordinances and these meetings and stuff like that. So what they're doing, they've been stalling for the longest time, and they found a way to finesse. Let me show you. You won't even believe how they did it. I'm gonna explain what happened to me today when I went to the meeting, because I was there. That footage that you saw on Twitter, I took that footage. I was there. I was taking that footage. So when I went there, that it says it started on the paperwork I got, said it started at 9:30. I got there. I'm here 9:30. I got a small book bag with me because I keep my equipment and stuff like that in the book bag. I have an audio enhancer, so when I record with my phone, it magnifies the audio. It's like a microphone, but not a personal microphone, but a microphone for the audio. So I had a small little thing, just, that and some other, chargers and stuff like that in a small book bag. And I went there, and then they all like, okay, you can go to the meeting, but you can't bring the bag with you. Now, this is not the first time anybody's bought a bag. People's bought a bag before. So I'm like, oh God, I can't bring a bag. I'm not going to leave my bag here. So I got to run. I ran back to the car, dropped my bag off. This was around 9:40 something. I get back into the building. I go upstairs. When I'm upstairs, the room already filled up. When I first get in there, I'm all like, okay, maybe a lot of people don't know about this meeting because I don't see nobody in the lobby waiting to go upstairs. I just went straight through. So I'm upstairs. Now, when I first got up there, there was one brother who was, and I'm not going to play the video because I'm not trying to embarrass the brother or anything like that. There was one brother who was, I'm hearing him yell or whatever the case is. He's yelling, he's screaming. He's like, man, y'all can't let me speak or whatever. So what I was told when I got there is that instead of 3 minutes, how they normally do it, they changed it to 1 minute, and he was upset about that. he spoke. He was the second person to speak. He spoke, and then when he sat back down, he was still kind of talking or whatever. So they tried to get him out of there, and then it was a bunch of, it was like a little tussle type thing, right? So when I got in there, I immediately tried to start recording because I'm seeing the police. They got him like kind of, you know, pinned up a little bit. They got him by both arms and stuff. So I tried to record this. I don't know what type of status she was, but this Hispanic lady who was working there, as soon as I started recording, she stepped in front of my camera, stepped in front of my phone. She's like, go sit down, please. She said it in a way too. She was like, please be respectful and go sit down. So I was like, okay, they don't want me to record or whatever. So I put my phone up, and she kind of like not pushed me necessarily. She didn't push me necessarily, but as I put my phone up, she kind of touched my arm and kind of shoved me a little to the seat, and I stopped. I'm like, okay, ain't no, don't be pushing me. And then she came in later and she tried to talk like she wanted to apologize or whatever. So I'm sitting there. I was in this one angle that I didn't like. I didn't like it because they I didn't like that angle because of the fact that I wanted to see the faces of the people, but the police had blocked off the other side, so it was only a few seats for me to sit. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to do what I can, and I don't have my equipment to magnify the audio, so I had to literally go download each of the clips and then increase all of the audio on the clips. So I'm sitting up there watching the people talk or whatever the case is. Now, mind you, all of the speaker spots are filled. You have to go in, you have to sign your name, sign your address, all that stuff to speak. All of that stuff is done by the time I got there. It's only like 9:40. Then they still arguing what to do. Everything is paused. It's about 9:50. Another black guy, he was sitting behind me, an older black man. He was sitting behind me. He was like, this has been going on for about 30 minutes. I'm like, it's been going on for about 30 minutes. How's this been going on for about 30 minutes if the meeting just started at 9:30? It's 9:50. How you mean it's been going on for 30 minutes? That means it didn't start at 9:30. So let me show you what they did. Let me show you what they did. So this is the paperwork that I got. Okay. It's saying, now you can see right here, it's saying committee on immigrant and refugee rights. Okay, this is the address. That's the date. That's the time. All right. That's the address. That's the date. That's the date. That's the time. Right. So I'm looking like, okay, all right. So then what I found out was the reason what they did it so slick, so smooth. Let me show you something else. So what they were giving to other people was this. They were giving other people this to throw them off. Now you can see this is the same thing for the same reason. It says press conference on Chicago's commitment to sanctuary city status. So this is the same thing. This is Thursday, December 7th, but it says down here, if you see it, it says down here 11:30. And then it's 11:30. My thing is being a little sensitive right now. It says Committee on Immigrant and Refugee Rights. So when we both got there, because that's why there wasn't a lot of black speakers there. It wasn't a lot of black speakers there because what they were doing is they were setting up the meeting, and then they would push when they would set it up, and everybody be like, okay, it's going down at 11:30. It's cool at 11:30. So everybody's, meeting up to get there at 11:30. By 11:30, it was over with. That's what they were doing. By 11:30, it was already done. By 9:30, I was already late. What I found out was that the meeting actually started at 8. It started at 8 o'clock. So when I got there, all of the speaker spots were already filled with a bunch of Hispanics who are like, man, keep this as a status and keep this as status. And I can't believe this. Now, there were so many clips. I really couldn't get the clips I wanted to get because as I was sitting up there trying to record, I had people all around me talking and I'm listening to it. I'm like, I can't even really hear what's going on with this audio. I was only able to get a couple of clips because I couldn't even really hear with the audio. Then some people were small, low. So I'm like, I couldn't really hear. But this is what they're doing. They're giving, because you legally as a citizen, you have a right to be aware of the city meetings. You have a right to participate. You have a right for all of that stuff. So what they'll do is they'll say, okay, well, here's the time. The time is at 11:30. So be here at 11:30. And then a couple days before the meeting, oh, we switched it to 9:30. And that's what I was under the impression of, that it was 9:30. So that's why I got there at 9:30, but they actually switched it to 8, which really means if they started it at 8, that really means that they were there since like 7 o'clock in the morning, because it's already a line that people need to go to sign up to speak anyway. So what's going on is that the Hispanic community is getting the heads up like, hey, be here at 7. We everybody else get the impression to be here at like 9, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Y'all get there before early bird gets the worm. So all of them, and because the Zoom thing, it was all recorded, but it take like a day or two for that to end. So I'm gonna show that eventually soon. But most of the Hispanics, they were speaking. It was only literally a few black people who ever got a chance to speak. And none of the black people who got a chance to speak were speaking against the city being a sanctuary status. All of them was sitting up there tap dancing. All of them. Every single last one of them. Sitting up there tap dancing. There was one single white man who was all like, hey, we got to stop with this border stuff. But besides that, every single last one of them were up there advocating for them. So I'm like, I'm sitting up there just looking. I didn't even get a chance to speak. I'm sitting up there just looking like, damn, okay, this is the game. This is the tactic that's going on. All right. So that's what's going on. Now I played for you guys this on Twitter. And when I saw this, I'm gonna pull it up again. If you guys have not seen it, let me pull this thing up again. Because I'm gonna show you some of the bootlicks we got to be looking out for, some of the tap dancers, because we already know what the Hispanics is gonna be on. We already know that. That's not new. But these people are a problem. All right. This man was a pastor, and the second he stood up, I'm like, oh, here we go. I knew it. And I'm not even trying to put this jacket on all pastors. But his energy, I'm all like, here we go with this black and brown stuff. I knew he was going to be on that page. I knew he was going to be on that page. So this is what he had to say.
Give me your time, your four, your Toastmasters, your 833. Read the refuse of your TV show. Send these to the homes, tempest bus. It's engraved in the base of the primary port of entry of European migration. We are a nation and a city of immigrants. The only natives of America and Chicago are Native Americans.
See, he said we are a nation and a city of immigrants. This is why when I did that video about the sanctuary, not the sanctuary status, the immigration, the Great Migration. When I did that video about the Great Migration, y'all, I specifically was all like, what they'll do, and you're starting to hear this a lot now. They're starting to try to tie the black and brown coalition thing together by being all like, well, hold on now. Chicago was discovered by a Haitian immigrant. And then you had Harold Washington, and he's the one who made it a sanctuary city. So this is really the black and the brown working together. This is the black and brown working together. No. Now, I already did my thing to say that there's not solid proof that John DeSable was a Haitian just because he had a French name. There were other foundational black Americans who had French names. So let's remember that. They don't know. It's not like they knew where he was. He doesn't have any immigration papers. They just assume because the French had Haiti, they assumed that he was Haitian. That's it. That's the only thing. All right. Harold Washington being that don't matter. Okay. You can't cherry pick Harold Washington being that, and you can't do that. So for him to say, oh, we're the only Native Americans who are over here, everybody else is an immigrant. This is why we got to stop with the we all immigrant stuff. That's why I did the thing with the Great Migration, because what they'll y'all like, well, don't know. We're all immigrants in some way. You might have came before, you might have came later, but it doesn't matter because we're all immigrants. We got to stop that. That needs to stop because this is exactly what this pastor is on. All right, let's continue.
Has received waves of immigrants over our history. Most recently, the 30,000 refugees from Ukraine and more than 22,000 migrants from Venezuela. And yet, they have received very different receptions. Most of us aren't even aware of the arrival of Ukrainians. This city has a population of 2.7 million residents. We have enough resources to provide for all of Chicago's residents, migrants included. The debate shouldn't be.
No. Okay, here's the thing. Because this is a talk, and this is how I know this has been orchestrated. This is how I know it's been orchestrated, because that was a popular talking point that we were hearing the whole time. Oh, the city has enough resources. The city has enough resources. The principle is not the fact that the city has quote unquote enough or not enough resources. That's not the problem. You're missing, first off, one half of the problem. The problem is the fact that a lot of them are coming over here. They're undocumented. You don't know who they are or what they're bringing over here. Like I said in the video before when I was talking about the immigration, now the police are sitting up there being worried about the gangs. I forget the name. I was trying to think of the name. They were worried about the Venezuelan gangs. They were worried about that now because they're allowing them to come over through asylum seekers. So safety, public safety is a problem, not just the resources. You got folks getting stabbed in police stations. So the safety of the people, whether Chicago got endless supply of resources, whether there's gold growing out of the ground and it rains diamonds every other day, and Chicago has more than enough resources to provide for everybody, that still doesn't solve the fact that you're bringing people over that have not been properly vetted and that are raising the crime. That's one thing that nobody wants to talk about. Everybody's going to be like, no, there's enough for everybody to share. Okay, hold on that. And that's part two. Now, part one is the fact that us as foundational Black Americans, we are the ones who need to be prioritized when it comes to those resources. We're the ones who need to, we're the ones who built the country in the first place. I don't even got to go into that, but we're the ones who've been deprived the most. We're the ones who face gentrification the most. We're the ones who face unemployment discrimination the most, housing discrimination the most, police brutality the most. We are the ones who need to be prioritized when it comes to the resources. So as far as people saying, oh, there's enough resources to go around, well, okay, give us our check, cut our check first, before you sit up there try to divide everything up evenly. We're not going to divide this pie up evenly. We're not going to do that. We're not going to sit there and be like, well, there's enough for everybody to go around. Y'all just got here. We got people who've been here for generations, all the way back to really the early 1900s and before then. So we're not going to sit here and say, well, you know what? Let's divide everything up evenly. Y'all got here last year. My great-great-grandmother lived here. We're not going to divide that pie up evenly. We've been the most deprived. Y'all get to the country and now we sit up there dividing stuff. No, that's not how any other country would have worked. We can't, there is not a single place in the world that we can go to and we can be like, hey, there's enough resources for the new migrants, the new immigrants. Me, you, whatever, any foundational Black American listening live or recorded, there's nowhere we can go and be like, okay, well, let's divide the resources up evenly with the natives in the city, with the natives in the country. There's nowhere we can go and that can be done. That can even be a conversation. Nowhere. All right. So the whole, well, there's enough resources. There's enough resources. Okay, well, we get first dibs. We get first take. As far as the whole sharing, oh, there's enough to go around. Okay, y'all wait y'all turn then. That's what's always being told to us as FBA. We gotta wait our turn. We gotta wait. We gotta wait. We gotta wait. We gotta wait. There's other people who are in crisis. Other people who are suffering. Other people who are more important. We're always getting pushed to the back of the line. Oh, there's a war going on in this foreign place. There's a war going on in this foreign place. It's a pandemic. It's a this. It's a that. It's a this. And we're always getting pushed to the back of the line. That needs to stop. That's going to stop. All right. So all of that. There's enough resources. Not really. Not really. No, it ain't. Not really, no. Now he goes on to say,
us versus them. Repealing the wealthy ordinance is going to stop Texas and Arizona from busing immigrants. It will make our city less safe as our new arrivals.
Now he's saying repealing the sanctuary status is not going to stop them from busing immigrants. They can bus them someplace else. Bus them someplace else. What he's saying is, oh, it's going to make it more unsafe. Because their argument, and this is how you know it was a think tank, that there were some secret meetings being had. It was some secret meetings being had beforehand, because they were all saying the same thing. They were all being all like, well, no, hold on now. It's gonna be unsafe. It's gonna be unsafe for all of them. Okay, well, they need to go home. Go home. Okay, and it will stop them from busing them over here, because they're not going to want to come over here.
And accountability. Do not turn Chicago into a show me your papers city.
So he's saying, do not turn Chicago into a show your paper city. And everybody start clapping and all. See, I'm not going to lie. This is the type of stuff that we need to stop. These pastors sitting up there trying to do the whole black and brown coalition stuff. No. Chicago does need to, no. America needs to turn into that. Don't show your papers. What are you talking about? They shouldn't be here now. Let me show you some other stuff, some other clips. I got other clips for you guys. Now, this one right here. This is the man who was sitting behind me and doing the talking and everything, so I couldn't really record. But he's low. I had to turn the volume up. He's low, so try to hear him.
Thank you. I'm here to support the draft resolution City Chicago City Council Commission to dance and fight at the road for the 11 meeting.
Now he's saying he's here. Let me take it back, because he's really low. He said he's here to support them.
Thank you. I'm here to support the draft resolution City Chicago City Council Commission to dance and fight at the road for the 11 meeting. Can you hear me? I'm sorry about that. This resolution is being introduced by Alderman Finesse, Alderman Finesse, and I'm here to support it. This is not, I wish this was not a black and brown issue, but it is. It is. 300,000 Ukrainians have come into this country with not very much controversy. That's because of President Biden.
I'm gonna be honest with you. You see them white folks that was ahead of me, they was pissing me off the whole time. They would not shut up the whole damn time. I'm sitting up there trying to get footage, and this man is whispering, like, can y'all talk a later time? This man, they were talking the whole damn time. They was pissing me off.
I'm not speaking out against them coming in, but I'm speaking to the obvious racism that's going on here. That's why I support this resolution.
Up there talking about I'll support the resolution. So another one of the things that they were doing, where they were saying, well, hold on, what about the Ukrainian immigrants are coming over here and nobody's saying anything about Ukraine? That this is how you know there are certain talking points that get discussed around certain meetings. They have certain secret meetings that they don't let the public know. They say, okay, when you get up, I'll have you up, and we'll have all of the younger population. That's what they'll do. They'll have the younger population. They'll groom and they'll train them into, okay, you say this, you say this, you say this. These are all the talking points. They were coming there. I'm a daughter. I'm a son of an immigrant. I came here since I was 5 years old, and my parents they were all saying, they were really all in sync with what they were saying. So I'm all like, okay, clearly this is something that's been rehearsed in a meeting before, and no wonder that all of them were saying that we're the only people who were speaking. The other talking point of, well, there are Ukrainian immigrants over here, and they're being treated better than the Hispanic immigrants that are coming over here. So this is really racism, and that's another talking point that you can see is being discussed in these little back rooms and these little secret meetings and stuff like that. And then what the Chicago City Council does, they play wishy-washy with the hours, so that the real grassroots don't get up there and they don't start laying off in the microphone, and they'll cherry pick certain little people to get up there and say rehearsed talking points, and then they'll approve of the ordinance and be all like, well, this is what the people wanted. The people decided. This is what the people said they wanted. Did you hear them? This is what they said they wanted. Now, when the folks were saying they didn't want it, they were shutting the meetings early. They was turning the lights off. They was kicking people out the room. They was pausing the meeting. But when the people say they do want it, is no problem. This was very orchestrated, very, very orchestrated. All right. We're going to get to the solution to this too, because they're not going to get away with this. Here's another person. And I was very disappointed in this brother, because I thought this brother was going to say something kind of deep. This brother, his name is Nino Brown. That's what the name they call when he stood up. This man got long locks and everything like that. He had like a Pan-African bead necklace around his neck. So I'm thinking, okay, all right, he might say something for real. Was I wrong?
The fact that these people are coming from Cuba, Venezuela, these are countries that are heavily sanctioned by the federal government, and the fact that the Democratic Party, Brandon Johnson, even some of the progressives in the city council are not putting pressure on the federal government because this is a national problem that needs national solutions. There are 11 million of our ethnic who are still in cages, who are still being locked up, right? Haitians who are being whipped at the border. The migration issue is not a black or white issue, it's the issue of working class people all across the world trying to survive.
Not see, this is what we going, man. He said the migration is not a black or white issue, it's an issue of working class people all around the nation trying to survive. This is what he just said. It's an issue of working class people. No, it's not an issue of working class people. These people aren't even legally allowed to work. So it's not no working class people all trying to survive. It is not. All right. This is why we got to stop the man. It's really not about race. It's about class. And it's about the 1% who oppresses the little man. And race is really a distraction. And it's really not about race. It's really about us versus the Illuminati. We got to stop that. Okay. These people sitting up there talking about is about class. And Hispanics are sitting up there clapping and cheering this dude on.
The fact that they're coming to these countries is because we have to colonize their countries and terrorize them for so many years that they are forced to come here. The young people in the crowd.
No, he said they terrorized their country, so they're forced to come here. The reason I'm pausing it so much is because the audio was really bad, because white folks wouldn't shut up, but the audio was really bad because, you know, he was kind of low. He's not, his back is facing the mic. I couldn't bring my equipment in, So I got to break it down because I remember what he said, just in case some people might not be able to hear. But he's talking about they were forced to come here because America colonized their countries. They were not forced to come here. Nobody was forced to do anything. There was only one group of people who were ever forced to come to this land. That's foundational Black Americans. And I'm talking about the part that weren't already here. So there was no force. They weren't forced to come here. They fled their country. That's a very big difference. They fled their country. They voluntarily left because they wanted to get the bag. That's it.
That your enemy is not migrants, your enemy is capitalists.
Hold on, let me take it back a little bit.
Listening, know that your enemy is not migrants, your enemy is capitalists.
They see, listen, y'all. This is why you don't see me doing the whole migrants and capitalists. This is why you do not see me having that type of conversation. This is why you don't see me having that damn type of conversation. The whole, it's not really about that. It's really about capitalism and socialism. And what we need more is socialism. No, it's not about that. It's not about, I'm gonna take a pause for 1 second. It's not about socialism. It's not about capitalism. It's about white supremacy. That is what it is. That is what it is about. That is what it is. That is what it is about. All right. So when people say things like, man, it's not about socialism. It is not about socialism. It is not about capitalism. Okay. Because if it was about capitalism, you would see them treating all of the immigrants the same. Based off of how they treated the Biden administration, based off of how they treated the Haitians when they were trying to do the same thing that the Venezuelans are currently doing, you can clearly tell there's a racial difference and how migrants, immigrants, all of that get treated, how asylum seekers get treated. Okay, when you're Black, it don't count. So it's not no colorblind thing. No, we Black and brown got to stick together and fight the Illuminati. No, it is not. This is a racial problem. Lord, I cannot. I've been saying this for years. I can't stand this, man. It's really about class, and they real problems. They want to get rich. It's the Bilderbergs and shit.
Are precarious so that it can lower wages and have us compete against each other and
No. See, I'm gonna tell you, they do this on purpose. This now you can hear all of the Hispanics in there clapping for them. Look at that Negro. Look, they do this on purpose. There was only a few Black people who were up there. Only a few Black people who were up there, and they deliberately had those Black people up there. The pastor dude, this dude, the other older person, and he was talking about how great Johnson is doing in the first place and how they're stopping Johnson. I'm like, really, sir, really? What his name? I got to get his name when the official video comes out. When the official meeting, because they all stream it and then it takes like a day or two for it to be posted, the whole city council meeting, because they report the whole thing at one time. So I gotta wait for like a day or so. I was looking for it today. It's not out today. So that's the thing. This is what they're looking for. This is what they're what they do. They'll finesse the times so that the grassroots don't get there on time. So you got people who are really not about it, people who really want to speak on it. They'll say, oh, you get here at 11:30. So, okay, all right, cool. 11:30, you showing up at 11:30, the ordinance already been approved. They've already been done with the meeting. All right. And I want you to see something too. How you look at this. One of the aldermen, his name is Andre Vasquez. Andre Vasquez. That's the person who's on the thumbnail. Look at his facial expressions too. You can see him in the bottom left corner of your screen. as the dude is talking, this dude literally stands up at one point in time and gives him a salute. Look, hold on, right here. As he's talking and he's talking about capitalism and all that stuff. Look at him. Tell me this is not orchestrated. He's clapping the whole time and nodding his head the whole time. Oh, it's about capitalism. It's not about black and brown. It's about capitalism the whole time. Look. Then he stands up and literally gives him a salute.
You know that your enemy is not migrants, your enemy is capitalists. They need people who are precarious so that they can lower
See? Now somebody tell me that's not orchestrated. Somebody tell me that these people, that they don't let know who can come and what time they can come. Because according to the paperwork, I was there on time. But all of the things were already spoken for. All of the things, all of the speaking, because when you get there, you got to like fill out a list of like your name, your address, what you want to talk about, whatever. So I was there, but that was already done. It was already past that time. So I'm like, damn, what the hell? So this is what they do. So a lot of people been wondering, damn, Chicago's now they doing the whole thing about Chicago being a sanctuary city now. So they're finessing the grassroots and they're stripping the grassroots from our voice. Our voice is being stripped because they're playing around with the times. They're saying, okay, we're having a meeting. It's at 10. Oops, you didn't get the email? Oh, it was at 8 o'clock. We just got done. I'm sorry. My bad. Yeah, we passed the thing you said you didn't want us to pass. We passed it. You weren't there. Oh, I can't believe you didn't get the email. Let me check my phone. Oh, I never sent it. My bad. They'll do that. That's their game. So they're trying to strip the voice, the black grassroots voice, because what they want is they want to pass the legislation, but the thing that they have to do is they have to make it seem as if this is what the people agree on. They have to, all the aldermen and city council and stuff, mind you too, is the reason Johnson wasn't there. It's a reason Johnson wasn't there. So they're playing this little finesse game. So, okay, what needs to happen to counter the finesse? And it was another sister I was talking to at the city council meeting right after everything was done. I'm not going to say her name, but we were talking about it. Now, since they don't want to have the black grassroots there. Oh, I didn't see him. He wasn't in that meeting. That's what I mean. That the whole immigrant thing, he was in there. You said he is never. Yeah, it is. Johnson, his schedule was very, very suspicious. But the solution, here's what I propose. Every single time is any time for any press conference or anything like that. And I'm not inciting any violence, of course. I'm not inciting any riots or anything illegal or any public disturbance at all. Legally speaking, let me cross my T's and dot my I's, or dot my I's, cross my T's, whichever order it comes in first. What needs to happen is that every single conversation, every single press conference, every single city council meeting, every single time you get a chance to use your microphone, every single time you get a chance to be in front of the camera, you need to speak up on the immigration issues, that or reparations. You can time both. Say they need to stop coming. Since Chicago got all this money, they can give me my check. It don't matter if they sit up there talking about public safety, turn it into the immigration thing. Say, oh, well, the public safety, you got immigrants out here breaking into stores and robbing stores and stealing cars and stuff like that. What are you going to do about that? Everything they talk about. If they talk about Chicago parking, because, Chicago got like bad parking and all that stuff with tickets and stuff like that. You talk about Chicago parking, you be like, yeah, man, these immigrants need to go. They be like, sir, excuse me, we're talking about parking. Okay, well, why don't you park that bus back in Mexico? That's what you need to do. They're talking about Chicago tickets. Well, why don't you ticket the buses that are dropping their ass off? Any and everything. Since what they're trying to do is they're trying to really Finesse would be all like, no, you get a chance to speak. You get a chance to speak. You can only speak on an immigration issue at this meeting right here. This is your chance to speak at this meeting, and then they finesse that. So since y'all don't want to play by the rules, that's fine. We don't have to play by the rules. That's fine. I'm cool with that. I'm cool. Anytime going forward, any black person is in front of a camera, that's what they need to be speaking on. It don't. We talk about police brutality. Yeah, these police are coming over here. A lot of them are immigrants. A lot of them support these immigrants. They're not doing this to the immigrant. Every single problem. Y'all talk about the trash on the street. Yeah, there's a lot of trash on the street, just like next to the immigrants that are sleeping on the street that need to go back to their home country. Any and every damn thing needs to get flipped back to that. Because what they're doing is they're stripping the voice. They're cherry picking certain people to get up there. There's only a few, like 3 or 4 black people. And they'd be like, oh, hold on now. There were some black. There were some Negroes. Did you see the Negroes? He has a dark skin. There's a Negro. He's a Negro. And he said he's okay with it. So, you know what I'm saying? It's not a black and brown thing. It's an everybody thing. That's what they'll do. So, okay, since they won't give you the voice that you deserve to have, that you pay your taxes for, that you legally have the right to, you'll just take a voice. We'll just take a voice then. We'll just take that. Now, every single time there's a press conference, even if it's the alderman saying something, you be boo, boo. It don't matter what they do. Every single time somebody says something, every single time you get a chance to speak on it, since they're not playing by the rules, fine. That's okay. You don't have to play by the rules at all. We're going to play it your way. You said gloves off. That's cool. We got the gloves off. Now, don't get mad. Don't get mad that we got the gloves off when y'all took y'all gloves off. Y'all took them off. We took them off. We just got harder knuckles. That's just what it is. Y'all should have kept the gloves on, but y'all didn't want to. So this is what it is now. Every single press conference, every single anything. Now, I'm not trying to, because I know what YouTube does, stop inciting violence. I'm not inciting violence, all right? Don't do anything illegal, okay? I know I got to say this on this platform because it'll get flipped till I'm encouraging that, which I'm not. You all know I'm not, but that's how they'll flip it and turn it into. That's what needs to happen. Just like what this the lady did when she set up a press conference or anything like that. Anytime you see any city meeting, I don't care if the city meeting. Let me show you something. I'm gonna show you something. This is how serious this is. Let me show you something. Hold on. What needs to happen? Legally speaking, let me say this legally. I'm gonna share my screen. I'm going to the website, and you can do this not just in Chicago too. You can do this in Chicago. You can do this in New York. You can do this in DMV area. Hold on, let me show you something. It's very easy. It's very, very easy. I went to the Chicago. It's the shycityclerk.com or whatever the hell. Right now, this is where they're going to be having all the past meetings. They don't have that here, right? That's not here. So what they'll do is they'll say the council's agenda. This is where you'll go and you'll have all of the meetings. The next meeting, this is a regular meeting on the 13th. They'll have regular meetings and stuff like this. You can go to your city website or whatever the case is. Let me see if no, you guys aren't able to. Okay, let me now I gotta change the screen because it just went to a new tab. Hold on, y'all. I want to show y'all what the plan gotta be. This is the only way. This is the only way. Y'all took the gloves off. We gotta take the gloves off because we ain't about to be boxed out because y'all don't want to play fair. Let me show you. This is when you go to some of their websites, they'll show you when the next meetings are. Okay. Now this was the one from today because they have a bunch of different ones. The Committee on Immigrant and Refugee Rights. That was the one right here. Now it says 9. Now, did I not show you guys the paperwork that I had that said it showed up at 9:30? So it went from 11:30 to 9:30, then to 9. But folks was there at 8. You know what I'm saying? They're pushing. Look, it's saying 9 o'clock right here, and then it's saying 9:30 right here. They're not even fully updating everything. They're doing this deliberately. So this one, and then they have another one in the same day because they have a bunch of these different subjects on the same day. So then around 11 o'clock, It was really closer to 12 o'clock. They'll have transportation and public way, and then workforce development, and then budget and government operations. In every single last one of these, if you don't get a chance to speak on the immigration thing, you need to get a chance to speak on all the other stuff. And you need to be all like, hey, as far as transportation, I don't think the immigrants should be transported here. Since we're talking about transportation, I think the transportation of the buses need to stop. Okay, since we're talking about the budget, I think the budget for the migrants, the asylum seekers, all of that stuff needs to stop. Since we're talking about traffic safety, I don't feel safe with all of these immigrants running around in traffic. Since we're talking about public safety, I don't feel public with any of this stuff. We're talking about landmarks. I think this is the landmarks and building standards. I don't think they should be in buildings. Every single time, since this is what they want, you flip the conversation onto them. Because what they'll do is they'll be all like, this was your chance right here to speak on immigration. So we're on track safety. Fine. You know what? I just feel, as far as traffic safety is concerned, with all of these undocumented illegals running around here, I think it's a hazard for traffic safety. I think they need to go back to their own country. I think they need to stop sending the buses over here to improve the traffic safety. You know, since we're talking about traffic safety, you know what I'm saying? It is getting very crowded with a whole lot of them just running across here illegally. You flip like, oh yeah, we're talking about traffic safety. Yeah, of course, sure. Since we're talking about police and fire. Speaking of police and fire, all of them sleeping on police floors, I think that is inappropriate. I think they all need to go back home. Speaking about fires and everything like that, they need to go back home because, you know, they can cause a lot of fires. There's been fires and stuff like, I think it's a fire hazard for the city for all of these people to come over here and you don't know what they're on. So there's another city council meeting, like I said, on the 13th, whatever the case is. And sometimes there's also other press conferences. And when you see a press conference, if you see somebody cooning, you need to be booing the hell out of them. They need to be booed. They need to, the public needs to have a new image. Okay, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to manipulate the public image and show that, well, most black people, there are some who are upset, but most black people are on the thing where we want all our black brothers and our brown brothers and sisters to get along. That's not what we're on. Okay. Notice that the clip I played for you earlier today, notice how that's not getting played in the mainstream. The mainstream's not really talking about that. That's not what's getting played in the city council. They're not really talking about that. The people who are really trying to fix the situation and call out the corruption in the Chicago city government aren't really the ones who are getting the accurate information. So, okay. All right. Okay. Since the gloves are off, since they said they want the gloves off, then we can fight with the gloves off too. Not fight physically, of course. Of course. Never say that. Chicago has a history of catching on fire, and with these undocumented illegals, I just think it's dangerous for them to even be here. Everything. There's literally not a single thing that you can't flip onto them. Daycare. I don't think my kid could be going to daycare with a undocumented child. I mean, you don't know what their parents are on. They might be bringing fentanyl in their lunchbox. I just feel unsafe as a parent to have them be around my children, be around my babies. Everything, every single thing. They be like, damn, they ain't letting up. Now, another thing too, they were talking about Biden is coming to Chicago next summer to do his campaign thing. And there was a whole bunch of Hispanics all like, man, if Biden don't pass, because what they were trying to do was work for the Chicago city government to vouch for the federal government to allow protection status or temporary work status so they can expedite work visas. So that's what a lot of them were there on. So what they're saying, oh, I wish I had those clips. But what they were saying is that, hey, if Biden doesn't pass these work visas, when he comes to Chicago, we're going to give him a piece of our mind. they were saying some crazy stuff. They were saying stuff like, oh, Biden won because of us. The Hispanic vote is what I swear to God they said it. I swear to God they said it. I was, that I swear, I'm not lying to you. I swear they said, well, the Hispanic vote is what got Biden in, and he won't have it again unless he does what he promised he was going to do. My chin didn't even lean back. I was, what the hell? So it needs to get very serious, and we need to get very organized in order to stop this. And not just in Chicago, in New York, everybody needs to be aware. This is why when we have our event in Chicago with the Dr. Winters, when he comes over and we talk about a lot of the issues, we're also going to be talking about how we can stay in the loop, because what happens is that one person will know when the meeting really starts, but the rest of us don't know. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing. They're having, I'm telling you now, they're having a lot of secret little meetings where they all meet up and they all say, okay, here's the talking point. Say this, and this. You'll pick her, pick the young ones. That's what they're trying to do. Pick the young ones. Like, my daddy was an immigrant. They're picking the young ones. They're selecting representatives to come and speak. So they're I'm telling you, they're organized. They're having representatives come up there and they're speaking on their behalf of everybody else. So if they're going to get organized, then we have to get organized. We have to come up with very, very 100% absolutely legal. It is so legal. It couldn't be more legal. Super legal. Legal as hell. Super legal. Couldn't be more. We have to come up with meetings where we discuss solutions, legal solutions. I got to keep saying that, to combat the fact that our voice is being stripped, and to organize to get things done, to represent how stuff needs to stop. Okay? Because I'm going to tell you, us waking this situation up, us calling them out, us calling out the fact that they've been stripping our resources from our neighborhoods and giving it to them, us calling that out is how it even got to the point where the sanctuary city status of Chicago was even up for question. It would have never been up for question had it not been the Black Chicagoans really calling that out every time they got a chance to. So what they did is they tried to stall. And now you got a whole bunch of people who are finessing meetings so they can get it passed. So it's okay. Just because y'all got it passed, y'all think we ain't gonna still call it out again? It needs to be called out. The aldermen who are switching the meetings need to be called out. The aldermen who are in your ward who are allowing this to happen need to be called out by name. People need to be called out by name. When I went to the city council, even though I spoke on reparations, I called Brandon Johnson out by name. I called JB Prisker out by name. I called what's his, I cannot forget his name, Joe Biden. I called Joe Biden out by name. Folks need to be called out specifically by name. Because all this, we tired of this and we tired of that and I can't believe it no more. Folks need to, what I've realized going to these meetings, and this is something that as Black folk, as the FBA community, we need to really put our heads together on this. This is a part of the solution. When we come together and we discuss, okay, this is how the bullet points of what needs to be said. We don't all have to say the same exact thing. It's not like we're reading off a teleprompter. We might be able to add a personal experience or something like that. I'm not saying everything got to be the exact same. But when these Hispanics who've been in there and they've been trained, they've been practicing to get up there, they had very similar bullet points. They were quick, they were concise, and they were straight to the point. They've been practicing and rehearsing on what to say. And I've shown too many times, too many meetings of Black folks, they'll get up there and then they'll start getting emotional. Then they'll start talking about it. When I was a kid, my mama burned my hair and it burned my ear. And we'll get into that. Black folks will start rambling a little, unfortunately, and I understand, but we'll get in there and then we'll start rambling and we'll start seeming a little off. You know what I'm saying? Getting there saying, you know what, this is not fair and I don't like it, not one bit. We need to come up with something that shows us that we're very well versed on the issue. We're serious on the issue. We know what we're talking about. We know the statistics. That's another thing too that they were bringing up. Well, statistically speaking, get a couple. I'm not saying you got to be a professor, but when you bring up a couple of statistics, when you bring up a couple of incidents, notice when I was at the city council, when I did my thing, I was all like, they're doing this, they're doing this, they're doing this, they're doing this. Okay. I was able to bring up certain scenarios to amplify my message. So it didn't come off as personal. That's one thing that you don't want to do. You don't want to come off where, you know what, my neighbor's Hispanic and his dog be shitting in my yard and I don't like it. Stop. We cannot do that. We have to be more organized than that, because what they're doing is they're having little secret little backdoor hidden meetings and stuff like that, and they're rehearsing their talking points. They're selecting certain people to talk. They're giving people the heads up, and then when they come over here, they're looking like they know what they're talking about, but all of that stuff is rehearsed. I'm picking up the pattern of what they're saying. I'm like, oh, okay, it's getting deep. They're really pushing this. It's getting deep. So that's what needs to happen with us. Of course, like I said, very legally, of course, exactly, super legally. Couldn't legal. Couldn't be more legal. Absolutely. We are not doing anything illegal. I do not you all know, legal, super legal. This is what needs to happen though. Okay. As far as getting up there, get up there. Sometimes I get you're going to be nervous. You might need to rehearse what you got to say in the mirror. Don't be sitting up there like, I just want to, don't get on that. Sometimes Black people take too long to get to the point. We see that in certain Twitter spaces. You know, sometimes when our brother Tariq, when he be having a Twitter space, you got Black people who are talk, and then right before Tariq about to close, hold on, let me get, no. What you say, because now what they're doing is they're changing it from 30 seconds to a minute. So that means what you say, you got to be all like, whatever I say needs to be conveyed fully in a minute. In a minute, what I have to say needs to be conveyed. I can't take too long to be all like, I grew up over here. I went to school over here. I ate pancakes for breakfast this morning, but I used to eat waffles. All that rambling makes the message look sloppy. And a lot of times they do that deliberately. A lot of times they'll have a Black person coming up there, and they'll know that Black person is emotional. They'll know that Black person is not going to make a lot of sense, even if that Black person's heart is in the right place. That Black person is not going to make a lot of sense. So it's going to look, and by proxy, like everybody who's against them is kind of on a crazy type of vibe. That's what it's going to look by proxy. With the Black Panther Party, okay, one of the things that they were very keen on was the image of the whole Black Panther Party. With the Civil Rights Movement, the image of the Civil Rights Movement was a very important thing. That's why when you saw in all those marches and everything like that, folks was wearing suits and ties, and they was wearing dresses and looking like they was about to march to church, because the image is very important too. You know, you didn't have a whole bunch of people wearing jumpsuits and just throwing on a t-shirt and everything like that. You weren't having too much of that, because the image is very important. All right. Because it lets you know that who you're representing and your people need to be taken serious. So these are some of the things that need to be happening. All right. Because if we allow this to get too bad, it's going to be a point of no return. Let me show you. So what we're having right here. Can I stop this? Did I stop it? Okay. Where is it? I thought I had it up here. Okay. I guess I don't. Hold on, y'all. My bad. Now, remember this weekend, This Sunday, I'm gonna show you the flyer one more time. This Sunday, what we're doing is we're having the Dr. Winters thing this Sunday. Okay. So in this, not only are you going to have your book signing, not only are you going to be able to talk about your history and ask Q&A, this is also going to set a good precedent of how the community needs to come together, similarly to how the Black Panther Party did, and discuss issues and discuss solutions. Because if this is what the oppressor class and the that word's on the tip of my tongue, the buffer class, if this is what the oppressor class and the buffer class is on, we need to come back with stronger energy. Because what they're doing is they're having little meetings. Okay, if meetings is what we're doing now, then let's do it then. Let's do it then. If they're rehearsing talking points, cool, let's do it then. If they're changing meetings, we'll make our own meetings. Let's do it then. So this is this is going to set the precedent of how, as the community, especially the Chicago community, gets organized to start discussing solutions, some solutions that doesn't get discussed online, even though they're very, very legal, super legal, super legal. This is what we do. Okay. So at 1 o'clock p.m. Central Time to 4 o'clock p.m. Central Time on the 10th, okay, at 4801 South Michigan Avenue, we're going to be there. Dr. Winter's going to be there. He's going to have his books. We're going to be signing. There's going to be complimentary refreshments. There's going to be a good time. Going to be a family vibe. I invite everybody who is in the area, who is near the area, everybody who can make a drive, even if you have to. I invite you all to be there. I would like to see you all there, especially my Chicago family. I would love to see you all there. So I think this would be a great opportunity. It's going to be around the Rutsasese holiday. So this can be like a pre-holiday thing. It's going to be a great opportunity. And this is going to set the precedent of what we need to do to start getting organized. Because it's getting to this point where we got is no more games can be played. No more games can be played. Now, with that being said, my brothers and sisters, when I get the full thing, I'm gonna take little clips and stuff like that just to kind of show you all how how orchestrated it was. Because I was sitting back looking, and there was a lot of black people. There was black people there, but I don't think those black people got a chance to speak because there was black people on the other side of the room, and none of them came up to speak. But none of them were clapping either. When all the Hispanics were clapping, they weren't clapping at all. So I'm like, okay, they're not really with it. So they must have got the notice late too, and they came after all of the speaker spots were filled. So most Black Chicago ain't really on this page. So this is the time when we need to, come together as the FBA community in Chicago and develop solutions. Now, with that being said, my brothers and my sisters, you guys need to be following me on my various social media pages. I'm going to be having updates on that on Afro Elite on Instagram and then the Afro Elite on Twitter. Follow me on those. And then please, we're close. We're close. We're almost there. We're almost there, y'all. Hit that like button, that subscribe button, the notification bell. Hit the notification. That helps. Even if you watch all the time, hitting that notification bell button helps. It does. Hitting that like button helps. It does. Watching the whole time through, it helps. It does. Even if you got to watch a little bit and then come back and watch the rest, that helps. Okay? So all of these things really do help, my brothers and sisters. We are very, very close, and we need this channel to grow, get bigger, because we really need to start doing a lot more community work. Okay, the work is really is about to be crunch time. Next year is an election year, is a presidential election year. It's a lot of pieces we need to start moving. So it's a lot of work we need to start doing. So this is why I need the voice to the channel to get as big as possible, so we can start moving all of this stuff, so we can start organizing, so we can have a bigger reach, so we can have more power with the people behind us. So this is what this is about. This ain't about me. It's not about you. It's about everybody as a community. All right. This is why it's so important. So with that being said, my brothers and my sisters, I hope to see you guys also too. Hold on. I'm doing another one. I gotta, because there's a subject I really wanted to talk about. So I'm going to be doing a live Saturday. I haven't gotten the time set 100%, but be checking for me Saturday. I have another live I'm going to be doing. So you guys tune in sometime Saturday. It's going to be around maybe 5 something Central Time. So check in with me Saturday. All right. Now, with that being said, my brothers and my sisters, be one salute to every single last one of you all. You all have a good one.